Good evening. I am here. It is 12:22 on December 22nd. It's a Friday. It's Friday now. Last work day before Christmas. Happy to get a 3-day weekend. Not happy to go to work, though. Work is absolutely sucking this week. It sucks every week, though. Hey, Zeno. Birdie. Little birdie. Yes. The birdie is here. Encoding overload. Considering turned down video settings or using a faster encoding preset. Why does this GIF break OBS? It's wild. And we're in there, yeah. Boy, am I glad he's in there and we're out here and that he's the sheriff. Okay, hey, I'm here. We're gonna do Ace Attorney. We're gonna finish this episode, then do Pokemon. The reason I'm splitting it up like this is because on Saturday, I'm gonna stream. And on Saturday, I'm gonna do all of Case 4 in one go. It's not that long. I think it's about as long as the first case, if not a little shorter. And then I'll do more Pokemon there. And then after that, we'll probably do a full day of Pokemon, a full evening of Pokemon, and then Ace Attorney until we finish it. And then Pokemon until we finish it. Actually, well, I'll talk about it when Pokemon comes up, but they're gonna release like a post-game update to it. So any post-game stuff in that expansion, I might wait until January to do. We'll see. But I'll talk about that later. Anyway, I got water, I got drinks. We're good. This shouldn't strain me as much as it did last night. January 8th, 9:46 a.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby Number 1. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So what do you think's going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. Does anyone know about the event thing? Yeah. I mean, it's already in the game's data. They're just releasing the ability to actually play it. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to the defendant's seat. Hey, yeah, from first place on Whiteland 2? Nice. Have you tried Frozen Night Cup yet? I'm gonna probably do that at some point. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. Counting on you. Does the data mine tell us anything at all? Yeah, the whole event's in there. But they're gonna release it on January 11th. I'll talk about it more when I play Pokemon later. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. Looked like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up the aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, doesn't look like one of the aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trebian's kitchen a couple days ago. Finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it was the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Small bottle refiled into the court record. Small bottle... Sounds like a Metal Gear Solid character. Victim's ear medicine, found uncovered and unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. And it's green, too. Well, I mean, the bottle's green. I don't know if the medicine's green. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... It's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? If Karma was here, I'm sure there'd be a joke about Mpreg with Gumshoe. Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, Or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. It isn't. The other guy's name is Phoenix Wright. I gotta get the sus stuff ready for when he shows up. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting, as always, Your Honor. Gonna make vids all weekend. Got some fun ones coming up. Nice. I've been enjoying your Mario RPG playthrough. Except, man, I am not a fan of that retranslation. It annoys me. It actually annoys me seeing the different names that they used for some of the spots. I'm on a Mario RPG overload between your playthrough, Vinny Vinesauce's playthrough, Kitten Krista's playthrough, and then my playthrough, the remake. I'm ready for a break from that game once your playthrough's done. Because I think you're the only one left still going through it. That I'm watching, at least. Oh god, my throat is really low today. For educational purposes, not a serious translation. Yeah, I guess so. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard for the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the ring of the cup shows the victim drank it from his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. One cup, yeah. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles. Oh, you know the answers to these riddles? That old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing off the scent. It smells like poopy. And today I'll prove it. Very well, let the first witness take the stand. I didn't think he was going to show up here. And you are? Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Tribulations restaurant. Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am la pert and perky gentleman, non? On the day of the incident, you were in Tribulations' kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur. Everything feels right. Ha! Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? 2 cups, yeah. Keeping track now. Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. Oui, volontaire. Volunteer? I don't know. I don't know French. I don't know Italian. Which would be awful because I'm Italian. No, but I don't know Italian. I actually tried taking Italian in college and I flunked it. I did so bad. Remember, though, he jumps up in cup numbers. He'll just say he's on his, 7th cup. So, you might miss, 5 of them. At Tribulations. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. It would have seen everything in reverse, non? A mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Bullshit excuse and I'll accept it completely. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. I had a bit of prep for Italian since I took Spanish in high school. That's why I got screwed over in Italian, because I couldn't discern the differences between Spanish and Italian. like with the particles and stuff, and it messed me up really badly. Also, taking a language class in high school is way different than taking one in college. You're expected to do way more, way quicker in college than taking it in high school, which, honestly, I feel like is not the ideal way to learn a language at all. It doesn't work. It did not work for me. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. At Tribulations. With Art Deco. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You're not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur? Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoction? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Oh, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more la effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of la decor. Large mirror. Small bottle and large mirror. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Well, something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass in a frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. None, but I decided not to go through with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. But... Objection. You didn't ask, Trite. You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Tribulations the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turns out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribulations, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ha! If you want to doubt someone, Trite, look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in the mirror. You've arrived. Hey, Karma, how you feeling today? Normally I'd expect to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. It's not the fucking wisecracks, Godot, yeah. Normally. How does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite. Even for you. You're doing good? Oh, that's good. Better? Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave that little porky-headed lawyer and that top-notch chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Trite. Ah, not the hair. I do not have a top knot. Yes, you do. Mr. Godot is correct. Lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic is one toute la day. Everything. He would have seen everything in reverse? Ooh, hey Nick, we should take a second and think about what old Seedy said in his testimony. How do you phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you could lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, no doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. Why am I reading dialogue I've already read? If he saw everything he's described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? And that clears up all problems with his testimony, I guess. Or... does it? Ha! It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but... do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. Just gotta dig deeper. Pretty easy. That didn't sound like you. Well, my voice is kind of deep right now. I don't know why. Like, it's really, really, like, just naturally very deep for some reason. I don't know. I was doing auditions earlier, and I wasn't happy with them. But I'm feeling a little better now. Oh, God, I'm, like, caught my pants. Ugh. Just like Godot for the wisecracks and his, oh, woe is me, I'm so edgy. Well, not always woe is him. He just dislikes people. You freaked for a second. Good. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side. Why am I wearing it? So to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw that as a reflection in the mirror, it means that both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement. You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it's not so odd, non? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in the mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order! Order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then he would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
Objection.
How bitter. Trite, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase sorry apology Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh, wait, no, he's doing an impression, which always sounds accurate. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh, yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Ha! Well, trite. That's the worst but also best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Godot's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. I almost read that as irresponsibly trash. They're changing what days they pick up the garbage from my town now, and that annoys me. They're pushing them both back a day. No, they're pushing one back 2 days and another one back 1 day. So it's not even anymore. It used to be take it out Sunday night, they pick it up Monday, take it out Thursday night, or take it up Wednesday night, they pick it up Thursday. Now they're picking it up starting next week. They're picking it up Friday and then Tuesday. And Tuesday's also recycling day. And I'm just like, oh, come on. So now I have to take out the recycling and the garbage in the same night when I have to do that. And this Sunday garbage does not go out, which annoys me. Garbage should be going out on Sunday nights. I don't know why they changed it, but they are. How do you know it wasn't on the other ear due to perspective? Well, he was sitting across from him. That would throw me off so damn bad. I'm a bunny of habit, yeah. Ouch. Exactly. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears, except for Glenn Elgs, because his was ruptured. What, for me, both trash my cycles on the same day and Tuesday for my parents as it is further out? It's garbage Monday morning, recycling every other Tuesday morning, garbage Thursday morning. Now it's garbage Tuesday, recycling also every other Tuesday, and then garbage Friday, which is weird. Picking up garbage on a Friday morning. Why? All your party garbage is going to build up over the weekend, and you got to keep it in the house till Monday night. Bullshit. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at la plans of la restaurant. Have I ever told you about the mail over there? Have I ever told you about the mail over here? Used to get it every day. 12 and 2. 2 o'clock at the latest. Now, it gets here at like 6 p.m., 7 o'clock at night. Sometimes. And I'm just like, why did they change that route? Bullshit. Stop doing this shit. It's not that bad anymore. It's kind of evened out back into an earlier time slot. But even earlier means like 4 or 5 p.m. as opposed to 1 or 2. And since I work from home, you know, that means if there's anything for me in there, I can get it earlier. But now I can't because it doesn't come till I would get home from work anyway. If I didn't work from home. Anyway, what were you going to say about the mail? That's really stupid. Yeah, it is. It is, but they also just, you know, it's done every so often, and it's annoying. I'm sure eventually it'll go back to earlier in the day, at some point. Or they'll deliver my mail at midnight. Who knows? The mirror. Alors, is everyone sitting comfortably? La mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There was only one seat from that which you could have seen the image of la victim. That was the seat, that table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. After a terrible incident occurred, I moved la mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. On the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. The entire neighborhood now has all its mail sent to a mailbox at the end of the block, so it's a bit of a walk, especially if you live on the other end. Oh, that's how Nessie's mail arrives. It goes into like a communal mailbox they have to go to. I live in a suburban block, so it just shows up at my house directly. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. As long as I get to insult Phoenix, I'm fine. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volontaire, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. So run this by me again. The mirror was here, right? Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Objection! Look who's talking, trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom! Trebian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, trite. I tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there, in the middle of the restaurant. And where would that be? Oh la la, look at you, how you lean towards me. I'll always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too. You know Ansem? Shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Bien, I will tell you. There is only one seat from which you could have seen. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? My monsieur, it is obvious, non? If you will look at la plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in la mirror like so. If you were sitting at la table next to him, you would have seen everything, non? So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting in that day, when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd? Witness, shut the fuck up here. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Kudo actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, none? You sure about that? I touched nothing except la mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something that the witness said that doesn't match up to the crime scene? He actually has feelings other than spite, yeah. Yeah, there is. I can't put my finger on why exactly. Ha! Suffering from a case of heartburn, Trite. Oh, I have just the thing for that. An oil with golden myrrh and frankincense. Add a few drops to your coffee, and voila! Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. Just need to ignore those two and find some evidence. It's pretty strange, though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. And the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Tribulations that day. Now I've just got to prove it, somehow. Oh, that wasn't it. So run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Ooh, wait, oh wait, I already read this.
Objection.
Did all of them. Something doesn't stack up here. If he was sitting at that table right there, I would assume there'd be something... Oh, after the crime scene, the vase isn't knocked over. There you go. Because Mr. Kudo said he knocked the vase over. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that should theoretically not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist. Ha! Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is this something that should not exist in this photo? I think it's pretty obvious that this is not what should be in the photo. A vase? What possible connection does that have with the witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there's an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not in fact sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Objection.
Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulations that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu!
Objection.
Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary, in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right, there was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear from which he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim the mirror isn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? Get 911 on speed dial. I didn't see the coffee splash the other day. It really is rubber TFQ. Yeah, it is. The witness cleaned up the vase, bro. That's literally touching the evidence. No, the vase that was not the table that the victim died at wouldn't really be considered evidence. The very fact that he didn't touch it is more incriminating, because now it means he's lying. If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? It's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing is adding up in this case. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Mr. Kudo made a mistake. The ear doctor made a mistake. The victim was a phony. Dust on my keyboard. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there's one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Mr. Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection!
When the coffee is puro. Yeah, it's pure. Oh. Pure O. Are you insinuating that this waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, the restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics. You would have known about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribulations that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oui. In the restaurant, La victim, Monsieur L, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word it won La Lottery Mon. When he got word it won La When he got the word he won La Lottery Mon, El became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. Non, there was no time for a phony to do la acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I simply wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you've just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Excuse me 1 second. I'm wearing new socks and they're very tight. So I'm gonna just peel them off my feet real quick. Get comfortable. There we go. Let the old Tootsie's air out. What's wrong? What's wrong, guys? What are you so excited about? Shush. Was he alone at his table as well? My, oui, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Objection!
Ha! Unfortunately for you, Trite. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee's he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, it comes often from my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. Worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So the old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Kudo arrived? Oui, that is correct. That still is the possibility that something happened in that gap of time. And by your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? Let me see, approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes? That's all? Seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time. Damn, is this the PC version? I don't remember it looking so high-res. Not this is Switch. This is just the HD collection. This is just how it looks. Rats, I knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. There were no other customers. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim.
Objection!
How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You'd never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant. But you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere. I'm sure of it. Hey, so one guy's the same name as a game engine, yeah. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard them. I remember him shouting, "Yes! $500,000! Presumably the defendant heard that too, then, correct? Maggie, she looked like a poor little frightened dove. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseeds that got stuck in his throat. It seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. What were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I'm a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry, what do you mean? There is the renowned chef Jean Armstrong and the tragic poet Clarice Armstrong. Clarice? Oui, I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef and $500,000 of debt. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for la court. Please don't. Perfect voice from who? Armstrong? Once there was no time for a phony to do la acting. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the old man to call from la payphone. By your own argument, Wright. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so that the old man would see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Bien, it seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted, n'est-ce pas? Guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elg, and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? Ah, you mean when the phony staged his act? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in this testimony. Why is Telegram making noises now? Thought I'd disable that. 1 second. Allow sound, no. Flash the taskbar icon, no. There we go. Alright, there we go. Fix that. Okay, there's other options we could pick here. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh, no. I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after it arrived. So that means it must have arrived between 2 and 2:10 p.m., non? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person's in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. But the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 p.m. Something doesn't stack up there. Time of death was between 1:30 and 2 p.m. 2:30. There we go. Experience the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life every Monday at 1:30 p.m. So if you arrived at 2... If you arrived only 5 minutes after Glenn, that means Glenn would have got there at 1:55. Which means he would have missed the radio show. Objection! I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Coy, what do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be la show, Mon. Elg was listening... Oh, Mon Elg. Monsieur Elg. I didn't realize that was like a prefix, like a shortened prefix. Oui, that must be la show Monsieur Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder... You say the victim arrived at the restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I am perfectly sure now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, Wright, if you have one. That show was broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point. Non! Every time I hear Bien, I hear Oreo singing La Bien Rose. Oreo? This victim, as we've been told about, has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. The bookshop skunk? You mean Caudle? I saw Caudle last week. He was in VR chat. They were in VR chat. I don't know the pronouns. I think it's they. I think it might be neutral. They were in VR chat last week. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain this time discrepancy?
Objection.
Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. It's certainly the most obvious conclusion.
Objection.
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you could prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. I think I think they were around, you know what? I better check, because I'm going to keep messing up their pronouns. 1 second. They were around before you showed up, and I don't remember if they were still there afterwards. I don't think they were. Because I think last weekend I ended VR chat after I hung out with you. Oh, who follow me? Thank you, Ultraviolet Master 1. Or Ultraviolet Master L. Thank you. Oh, actually, he uses both. He-Day, perfect. So I wasn't wrong. Right by mistake. Alright, 1 second. Yeah. What's your username? I think it's just Caudle. I was showing him a bunch of my avatars, and he really got a kick out of some of them. He thought the Chocobo was cute. Everyone likes the Chocobo. People either think it's Alpha from Final Fantasy XIV, or they just think it's a really cute Chocobo model. I'm pretty sure it's taken directly from Chocobo GP, which is really cool, because I'm one of the few people that actually like that game. Anyway, getting off topic here. According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Ugh. Karma. Later with that. The prosecution is a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Stripe. Stripe? Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? Thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. Burning your sardines. Oh, I wouldn't even cook sardines. I just put them on pizza. Wait, no, that's anchovies. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed? Inside Tribulations. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing? It would have been dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside the restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court these plans, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Tribulations is... in the kitchen, obviously. Body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? Whoa, do you recognize this bottle? That still sounded wrong. No, I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality, only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations. Coy? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited God, don't make me say that, otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results right here. The contents of this bottle contained a prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Ugh. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu. Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. Non! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg? Never. I could not do such an horrible thing. No! Oh. Mr. Godot? Bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. You have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Boy, how the fuck are you not in the hospital? Look at him! Do you think he's normal? He can't see red. We proved that yesterday, that he couldn't see the red stain on the apron. Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. Why did I not do that in the judge's voice? That was weird. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? None. Absolute none. Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As is my gavel. Oui, it is clear. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession. It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him, I swear. You must believe me. You were forced by who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elg died, was he really the only person at his table? There was. There was another man. Knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. Just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. La confession. Did you carry the body by yourself? Oui, I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? What man? Who was he? None, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. Why would you go along with this man? What reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, monsieur. Yes? Surely you're not going to expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. Can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I'll just have to prove it, with evidence. So you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies, is that correct? Oui, that is right. So if we don't believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make it clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this. He's already confessed this much. Might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Then sock it to him, Nick. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is that true, Mr. Armstrong? Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed la money. This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. Take that! A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you to. Oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong, the tiger, it told me it was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, there was a meeting la victim to demand that they pay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and la inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we could say, safely now, that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison in the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well? None. I knew nothing about that. Making it look like Maggie was who had done it. I was not. It is despicable. Yeah, be careful, Carmen. Don't break stuff. You gotta move, slow down a little bit. I feel like you move too quick. You might be moving too quickly. And that's why you keep knocking stuff over. Mr. Godot! You will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that could be arranged today, so we'll adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy in the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Wright. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well, your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Till then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Move slowly, can I get things done? Alright, you gotta try to look in front of you. Be more careful. Take a second before you do things. January 8th, 1:21 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. Almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now. He said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he's testified to is the truth. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, could be in trouble. Get the feeling we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe? What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot. It's not a topknot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I just get kind of wound up. Ugh. No kidding. Gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you got them in an hour. An hour? Sure, I'll have to be reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't really have a decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we really are stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? Take that! If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this bottle? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve that last mystery of who the prints on the bottle belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. What kind of guy are you are? January 8th, 1:56 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 4. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites. Final brain cell. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, if you could please tell... Ah! Oh, wait, he growls. He growls. I don't have to say it. Thank God. Ah! Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there, too. Would you mind? What you says to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest. Could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. I got business to take care of. You hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you just didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout, we can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in. Ugh. Too cool. Damn it, I have one for that, too.
Too cool.
Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Get your booty back here, yeah? Godot taming Tigray sounds like something lewd and raunchy, yes. Incident. I know nothing about no stinking incident, mask boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. Hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick. Tiger's alibi. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all my time up in the office. Got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Yous want to check with my alibi? Just ask Violetta. At last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examine... What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Tender lender in the blender, yeah. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you don't ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you're gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. I don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. Ha! I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's really not... This witness. How can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Getting his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You'd better be listening. I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of the witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Uh-oh, it's Mo all over again. Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything on my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where it was. That's where I was. That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. Urgh. And there he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? Mr. Tigray, what do yous want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
Objection!
This is a dead end, Trite, and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe yous ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do wild business with me. Why I say wild? Wanting to do business with me. I had never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please... Mr. Tigray, the court asks that you add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The day you was talking about, I was in the office too. Never saw that kid before. On December 3rd, the day of the incident, there's a note saying, meet with the tiger. Glenn's calendar. Mr. Tigray, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note in his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date, December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigray, if that is in fact your real name, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. He's actually not bad. Sorry. I was just messing with you to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I could do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. Just calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? Ruh-roh. So you're saying that you claim to have never seen the kid before. Is that the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You'd better believe that's the truth. Ha. Then I'll say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. Tar. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigray. Oh, yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness? Never actually met the victim. That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. Right in the butt. If he and, if Phoenix and Tigray hooked up, would that be self-pleasure? Anyway, the victim, Glenn Elg. I ain't no liar, I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up with a meeting with that guy at my office, tender lender. Waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. I ain't never been to that Tres BN joint. He's here? Wow, you all did not like that joke. I see, that all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. Gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, Wright. Ugh. Tigers and dragons are rivals in folklore. Yep, in Japan, Phoenix has Rio in his name. Yep. Well, he has a tiger and a dragon on his shirt. And then his name is, Ryuichi, yeah. Which is interesting, they gave him the name Phoenix, because isn't that one of the four, it's one of the four saints anyway. Tiger, dragon, tortoise, Phoenix. Anyway, we know exactly what the thing is here. I ain't never been to that Tres BN joint. He's here? Which is a lie, because he has the Tres BN matches right here. Mr. Tigray, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Tres BN before, what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Order. Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. This close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenn Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. He mustered. At Tres BN. I was supposed to meet with that kid in the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. Heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. I see, you didn't actually meet with them in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it, if I wait around any longer, I am going to have to make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Ha, no problem. Anytime Tri presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's paying. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? An ugly scene? What do you mean?
Objection!
The witness has already told us, Trite, which makes this question irrelevant. But I limit myself to 17 cups during a trial. That's the rule. You better limit the number of times you take a penalty, Trite. Or your guts will look like the inside of a chimney. Ashen. I love Ashens. Don't make me burn you again, Mr. Wright. Guess I shouldn't have pressed him on that. Guess I'm gonna have to make that Special Express after all. So to recap, this ugly scene you saw was... No, because apparently they think that being a judge means he, der, guilty, guilty, guilty. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how Godot sees it. You saw Glen Elk's dead body? I guess I did, but I only saw him from behind. He was wearing some raggy bit of cloth called a hat. What time was this? I don't know. Huh? You know what winds me up more than anything in this world? Watches. Round watches. I ain't gonna pollute my paws with some ticking henpecker. Out of interest, Mr. Tigre. That's weird. I just thought I saw something in the corner of my eye, but... Maybe I'm just imagining things. Out of interest, Mr. Tigre, what winds you up the second most? Huh? What'd you think? Square watches. This guy for real? Look, all I needed to know was that something bad was going down in that place. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I opened the door of the joint, I saw one ugly scene. I think it's the statement. Because how would he have seen the victim? There's a huge partition right here. If he walked in, he would have had to walk in all the way over here. It wasn't my imagination. No! I saw something flash in the corner of my room. But I think it was just my, eyes fucking up. You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. Karma, those are some horny emotes you're posting there. Posting. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, right, Mr. Tigre? From there, you feel the vision would have covered something area like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that's just not possible. If the court would think back, you remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision that any customer walking in would see ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him.
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elk, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. Or charade. We had the same argument back in Ace Attorney 1. Pob. That's a cute pob. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was the real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? Hey, he's a phony. A phony. He's sus. He's a imposter.
Baba Booey.
Just playing random shit now. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you could pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger's the king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell a witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. He's got guts, I give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Ha! Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. King of the environment, it's nowhere near, yeah. Urban jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle. Mr. Godot! Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, 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 no. King of the jungle, yeah. I'd be a tiger. King of the jungle. Jungle. Got there's so many German-isms that have just gotten stuck in my head. King of the bungle, yeah. He's gonna bungle this up. Serving yeah, I had all this already. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison in the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the... Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Huh. Found your pen at last, trite. It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. Also, if you notice, this is only in the third game, but they do that like that ding sound effect in higher pitches as things escalate. They don't do that in 1 or 2. Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenn Elg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenn Elg really was the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible this waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Take that! That sound effect, that's what I'm talking about. Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. He's making a big mistake. You know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home tonight in an armored truck, if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody at Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to a half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? He's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get my meeting now, but I'm gonna give yous one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? Yous got it all wrapped up nice, huh, Wright? Well, yous missed out on one real important thing. But that can't be! I was in the joint that day, too, and I met the kid, too. But I couldn't poison him, you hear? What, do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Ha! What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're gonna need another one for the road. One more steaming hot cup of testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim? Ties to the victim. Yeah, I loaned out cash, about $100,000. Money dollars. That day, we was due to have a little chat. Kid had hit his payback date, see? Oh, I just talked through a burp, and now my chest hurts. So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yeah, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Now I see the principal amount you loaned to Mr. O was $50,000. Yeah, well, you's got the VIG to take up the account. You's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was an unlucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one. But what is it? Do you have any way of paying the loan back? Fool was a gambler. Said he couldn't give it up until he landed a big win. So I agreed to help him. Help him? You? Kept hitting him with ideas for ways he could get a big win. But the guy kept losing. So you were helping him for his sake, or yours? Win through compromise. Yous help me, I help yous. What's the difference, huh? I don't believe this. Nick, would anyone really ever loan money to someone they thought was unreliable? Like, for example, if it were you, I'd only loan you $5 max. Thanks a lot, Maya. So how much were you expecting him to pay you back on that day? What'd you think? The whole package, $100,000, including interest. That's a real heavyweight punch. Once a client misses a repayment, you call the whole loan in. You want to make it in my world? That's all you've got to know. How many times has Mr. Elg been late with his repayments? Once. How much was he supposed to pay back every month? $50. Sounds like Mr. Elg was in a real sticky spot. Yeah, $50 a month, he'd never pay that huge loan off. So he tells me he's got no way to pay up. How much do you have left on his debt? You want it in round figures? About $100,000. That's the whole amount! We're talking about a guy who had 58 cents in his wallet. What, you telling me he wasn't even going to pay for that coffee? He certainly seems to have been a brave man, this Mr. Elg. That guy was smooth, I tell you. Real smooth. You'll have your money in less than 5 minutes, that's what he says to me. Guy then calls me the Tender Tiger. He was skating on thin ice with me. Was that because the guy won the lottery? Was his last chance at a big win? And you can confirm that this is the ticket in question. That's it. The Millionaire Radio Show starts at 1:30 p.m. and runs for 10 minutes. That fixes the time you two met with some accuracy. And the whole scene again was acted out 30 minutes later. Also that Mr. Kudo would see it. I can still see the kid's face now. I ain't never gonna forget it. Was there anyone else in the restaurant at the time? I don't remember. If there's no one else there, I'll wear that ridiculous tiger shirt for a month. Mr. Armstrong, Maggie, and if I'm right, Viola Cadaverini were all there at that time. So the victim had intended to repay you from the lottery's winnings from the beginning? Seems that way to me. But you wouldn't normally expect to win a lottery, would you? Ha! The undying belief that your next roll will end the worst losing streak you ever had. That's what defines a true gambler. Makes it sound so cool. Don't be tempted, Nick. You haven't got the willpower for it. All I know is the kid took a shot and he got lucky in the end. That's a... What is that emote? Merry Christmas. Thank you. It's too early for Christmas. It's only the 22nd. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, this would have all been over. The waitress, you mean? The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bang, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. Ask about what Maggie did. He won, but he has to give like a huge chunk of that because taxes, yeah. But to be fair, he only needed 100,000. He probably would have had more than enough to pay the guy off. What exactly are you implying the defendant did? How about you go ask Four Eyes about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elg's coffee. A likely theory. Your word hasn't held water lately, Mr. Tigre. Let's not forget this witness was actually at the scene, Trite. The law doesn't exactly agree with some of the deals I deal. Nah. The law don't exactly agree with some of the deals I send down. I couldn't be there when the cops showed up, so I split. I see. Your Honor. Your Honor. The witness's last few statements are worth a good 2 cups of coffee. I concur, Mr. Godot. You will amend your testimony accordingly, witness. So that's what you was after, Phoenix, right? Thanks to what she did, my business with that kid was over. Tiger's trying to pin the crime on Maggie. I asked him about what he saw. It's only going to cause damage to our case. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are you stalled there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100,000 bucks back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Oh, Mr. Wright, are you happy with the testimony or would you like it amended? Have it amended. I'm not going to get anywhere with the testimony as it stands. Your Honor, the defense would like the testimony amended. Very well. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect your recent statements, please. I was after the $100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. Are you saying you had no other motives that day? Yeah, so what? Then why didn't you take the winning lottery ticket when you left? What'd you think? Because of Four Eyes over there. Was it Maggie? How about you go ask Four Eyes about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad she poisoned it. Yeah.
Objection.
It's the same stuff. Better leave it at that and try to figure something out. Thank you, Your Honor, but there's no need to amend this testimony. Very well. Continue with your cross-examination, then. So the Tiger was meeting Glenn Elg to get his money back. And Mr. Elg had just given the lottery ticket. That would have been the end of it. Yeah, so what's the Tiger's motive? This is the big one. If I don't manage to undermine this testimony, it's all over for us. Why would he have to poison Mr. Elg? And why did he loan him the money in the first place when he knew he couldn't repay him? McBomber. I could go for a McTriple. A McBomber is what I call it when I eat a McDouble from McDonald's, and it just causes me to run to the bathroom afterwards. Just like a bomb went off of my stomach. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned that guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection.
What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. Kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? Not horny, but he deserves that anyway. Guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that's from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber will be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. I see what you're talking about with bloatware in there, and I know you're not referring to, actual bloatware. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral that Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get a hold of that program? Blah. Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he's no means an idiot trite. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided he had the time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. Seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need the money to the tune of $1 million? $1 million bill for cranial surgery. Payment was due last year. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. Since she was taken to the hospital where she was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this did you know? When did you get VIP? Oh, I made you VIP last night. Figured why not? You're here very often nowadays. These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. Ha! No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigre had no choice to pay. Because his very life depended on it. Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright. Indeed it did. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Ugh. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on the CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. Lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glenn Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigray posed as Glenn Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. They then reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money, too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigray's plan. Order, order, silence, or I'll clear the courtroom. You've put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You say I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do. Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Hey, what? Hey, wait, what? What's happening? Did I miss something here? Yeah, that works as a Bowser impression. Yeah? I'm so confused. What's happening right now? People reacted in chat. Tigray is a furry, yeah. Just Bunglepuss story, oh. Welcome to the Michael fan club. Come get your I'm a Silly Egg shirt. That would be a shirt I'd wear. Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigray performed to frame the accused? What on earth is that? What an insult to anyone who thinks they could be fooled by such a childish imitation. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigray, you didn't just pose as the victim in the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen. Ugh.
Objection!
Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man. Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir?
Objection!
This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court we deal with people's lives. Nah. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as a judge, with a vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. No! Do we have photos of the case or something? If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigray are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. But we've come so far. You say he impersonated Glenn Elg. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Ah! Ha! Sucks to be you, Wright. Don't mess with a tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You's got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit, but I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ha. Gulp. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. This witness's cross-examination is ogre. Tigre's an ogre. He's an Oni. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre. Guess what? Hold it. Your Honor, sir. Wait! It's Gumshoe with a little baggie with like a fun little decoration on it. It looks like a melon. Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What? Ham and clutch, more clutch than your cheeks, eh? Let's fucking go. January 8th, 2:48 p.m. District Court, courtroom lobby number 1. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. Results? About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right. That's great. We got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything down the line for us, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage of the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elk's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try. Never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This was our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait. He's gone. Isn't there anything we could do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get us that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Victim's ear medicine, covered in Furio Tigre's fingerprints. January 8th, 3:04 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Carmen, don't spoil things. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you discovered. Yeah? Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time you's gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before. But yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything with this new evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. Maybe he thinks he's got me beat. He'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. Well, I just want to point out the potassium cyanide's in a, you know, amber bottle. This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't this the victims? Your Honor? Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We've clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. Prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? Phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Yeah, and then you get yourself in trouble. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains Mr. Armstrong's oils, the victim's ear medicine, potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. L, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. You're just making me laugh now. You think that cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No, this is the bottle we found traces of poison in. Don't mess with a tiger, you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash. Don't look nothing like it. Idiot. Got him. At last. What? Why has everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle with the cyanide was in. But you ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What'd I just say? You were summoned to the court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. Yous don't know who you's messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with the phony lawyer. It was all played out by you. The biggest phony of all. Yeah. It's the Persona 4 twist. What's going on? Looks like a blackout. Well done, trite. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. In the anime, he, like, actually blows up. Like, gets, like, an explosion on him, and he's just there, like, burnt. Exactly, though, that confession, the way you get him is exactly the way you get the culprit in Persona 4. I would love to play Persona 4. I'm probably going to play Persona 3 Remake or whatever next year. But, that's February? Or March? I can't remember. The tiger is now a meek kitten, yeah. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot? Screenshot it? I'll just take a video. I'll grab that. I'll grab a screenshot later. He's being arrested on suspicion of murder of Mr. Glenn Elg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigre is truly a frightening criminal. Karma, have you seen the beta design for Morgana in Persona 5? Where he's like a little latex monster? It's such a cool design, and I'm so sad they didn't go with it. Also, remember how Persona 5, like, hides Morgana's gender for, like, 3 or 4 hours, and then they just give up? And they're just like, nah, Morgana's a guy. they just completely give up on having him be, like, ambiguously gendered. Or gender-neutral or non-binary. Ha! The truly frightening one is the defense attorney over there. Godot. Well, I'm now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird. That is all. This court is adjourned. January 8th, 4:10 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I could forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. The ambient noise is reflecting off the soda can, and that's annoying me. I'm trying to, like, put something on top of it. 1, 2. Okay, now it's not doing it. This was P3 Remake is going to get such a huge feature overhaul against a remake of a game 2 installments ago. Yeah, it looks really nice. I'm getting it on PC. Day 1. Assuming it's not broken. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then, pal. See ya. Wait. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony, then? Huh? Oh, well, I was... Well, guess I'll be seeing you around. Later, pal. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But... It was only useful because Mr. Wright bluffed. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie. You know Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all this. I wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her that little present to celebrate her freedom. Where is it? Oh, right here.
Take that!
Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know? Did Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? It's cute. So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. There's a little rice stuck on her cheek. How's the rice? Yeah, this is from yesterday. How's it still good? Phoenix must have put it in the fridge and then reheated it. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows? Maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. I mean, the weenies would be spoiled too if Phoenix had them in his pocket the whole time. Episode 3, Recipe for Turnabout. The end. A brand new episode's been added. Episode 4, Turnabout Beginnings. We will not be doing that tonight. So, this next case... See you when you lose another job. See you when you lose another job, Maggie. To be fair, she fails upwards. By the next game. Turnabout butt cheeks. I don't know why that's so stupid, but it makes me laugh. Okay, so here's the deal. Episode 4 is short. It's about as long as the first episode, so I could finish it in less than a stream. I do not have enough time to finish it now. I only have like an hour and a half before I gotta stop at max. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna move to Pokemon for the rest of the stream. I won't be here tomorrow, and then Saturday I might stream. If I do, it's going to just be episode 4 of this and then more Pokemon. So it's like going to be nicely segmented. And then next week we'll do episode 5. But episode 4 is really good. You don't want to miss it. Here's a small teaser of it while I switch the stream info. That's all you get. More of that on Saturday.